It's one of the best on-campus settings in the ACC. Venerable Reynolds Coliseum, where on Wednesday night, the Pack's Devin Daniels netted a career-high 29 points. Today, the Wolfpack are set for a sharpshooting squad from the A-Sun. NC State and North Florida comes your way right now. We welcome you to ACC basketball, presented by your local Ford dealer. One day after Thanksgiving, 2 days after this new college basketball season began, we're set for the first ever meeting between the Ospreys of North Florida and the NC State Wolfpack. Hanging in the rafters up by the banners here in Reynolds Coliseum, Evan Lepler with the legend Mike Jaminski. It's great to have you with us. Wolfpack pretty impressive. Kevin Keats, G-Man, with more depth than maybe he's ever had at coaches NC State. Yeah, and it's uncertainty at the end of last year. Many felt that this team could have made the NCAA tournament, and some uncertainty going into this year as well. But this is a deep team, and it's an old team in the starting lineup. And the Hardys star to watch today is not Devin Daniels. You might be surprised. We'll talk about him in a bit. DJ Funderburk, if the Wolfpack are to get where they want to get to, this guy's going to have to be huge. Well, he's going to step up and be a primary scorer. Really has a nice low box game, the jump hook there. Also has shown the ability of him to put the ball on the floor and get to the rim, get free throws, and on occasion he can keep you honest with the three-point shot as well. 22% from last year, but he does most of his work inside. They expect him to start shooting the ball a little bit more from the outside as this season progresses. Here in the house that Everett Case built in the North Carolina capital of Raleigh. It's the first ever meeting, the Ospreys and the Wolfpack. Tip-off coming up. Back inside Reynolds Coliseum, both teams have starting lineup changes from Wednesday. 12th year coach Matt Driscoll's Toyota starting lineup for the Ospreys includes Josh Endicott, who did not play on Wednesday because of a coach's decision. Didn't get any more out of Driscoll than that, but he's in the lineup today. And the surprise for Kevin Keats is that there's no Devin Daniels. Scored 29 points, a career high, also had 10 rebounds, played 30 minutes. No information that we've received so far to pass along, but if we get some, we will certainly share it. Jericho Helms takes Daniel's spot for the Wolfpack at the outset here today. And Evan, last year Devin Daniels came off the bench and for 8 games, but then worked into the starting lineup. But I would bet he'd get significant court time after the performance in the first game. Now, what do you need to know about this North Florida team? They are affectionately called the Birds of Trey. Traveling violation there on Chaz Lanier, a freshman from the Music City of Nashville, Tennessee. G-Man, we expect this team to shoot a gazillion three-pointers. They led the nation a year ago. Yeah, Matt Driscoll really doesn't mind if every shot was a three, and that's one of the best hashtag names I've heard yet, the Birds of Trey. Well, they're a 21-win team last year. These are two 20-win ball clubs from a season ago. Jericho Helms off the bracket. Funderburk fights to keep it alive, and it bounces to Helms, who lays it in. And see, that's really a basket for Funderburk. I mean, he really, the hustle, keeping that ball alive, and you know, Helms just right there. But that's good things happen when you keep the ball active. As of now, no assist to Funderburk in the official stats. Well, he is at home. He may get one. We'll see. Leading scorer for the Osprey, Carter Hendrickson. And his first shot bounces a couple times on the rim, and Manny Bates tracks down the board. Trying to get him a look on the post with a smaller cover in Thomas Allen. We'll see a lot of zone for North Florida. Little high-low. Bates to Funderburk, and one. And that's a big front line out there with Bates and Funderburk, and that's a nice. They throw a lot of lobs inside. Good high-low action that time, cut behind the zone. Well, DJ Wiggle. Foul was on Endicott.
One shot, gentlemen, one.
DJ, the fifth-year senior from Cleveland via Hargrave Military Academy and Ohio State. Spent a year at Northwest Florida State as well. But yeah, the front line with Bates and Funderburk together. I mean, this is the small space era, and Carter Hendrickson's a great guy for that. Knocks down the triple.
And Evan, that's a snapshot you were talking about of their offense. Even breaking pressure, they'll pull up from the three-point line. The Wolfpack going to have to defend outside in this game.
Carter Hendrickson, the lone returning starter for this North Florida team that lost 4 guys who were 1,000-point scorers from their ASUN title team a year ago. Spinning to the goal, and Bates swaps it away. It'll be NC State ball. Manny Bates with another monstrous block, number 86 of his career, as we check out our North Florida bio. 3 ASUN regular season titles in the last 6 years. Those last 6 seasons, they've averaged 347 made threes per year.
And that, Matt Driscoll talked about good turnover right there. They've been active with their hands, and but he's talked about he's had some opportunities to move on in the 11th year down in Jacksonville with North Florida, and he said it's a lifestyle decision, family decision, and he loves it there.
Says not enough coaches value and prioritize quality of life. Stepping into the outside shot was Endicott. Off the rim, Beverly hits the floor, he pops back up. There's some concern among NC State fans with the hit that Beverly took the other day.
It really bothered him last year, Evan, that back issue, but he took a hard fall in the first game.
Well, Kevin Keats said, look, every game, Braxton Beverly's going to hit the floor hard, and every game he's going to pop back up and be ready to keep fighting. We asked Matt Driscoll, how many threes do you want to take? And his answer, as many as we can.
He gets more upset when they turn down good threes than anything.
Devin Daniels is at the scorer's table. It'll be the first sub of the game. Not sure how Driscoll thought about that last shot from Hendrickson, the 10-footer. Thomas Allen to Beverly. Nothing inside the three-point arc yet this possession. Now Beverly off the dribble, pops and hits.
Well, if you're going to accept something from Beverly, it's going to be that mid-range jump shot. You want to drive him off the three-point line, very good from behind the arc, and make him settle for 2 points, but fine shot.
Today is Braxton Beverly's 100th career game as a member of the NC State Wolfpack. That's a turnover. And here comes Devin Daniels into the game, coming off of just a fantastic performance. Daniels 11 of 16 from the floor, 29 points in 30 minutes.
And that 20 points at halftime, so it really got out of the gate quickly. Be interested to see now, not starting, how soon he gets involved in the offense, Evan. And but just some of the looks and the jump shots right there. And he actually makes a lot of his living driving, putting the ball on the floor, getting to the basket.
We did speak to Kevin Keats this morning as Hellam's too strong. Funderburk on the glass, back up and in. And Kevin Keats basically said, look, I'm going to change my starting lineup around. Don't ask me what it's going to be today, because at this point, he didn't even know.
And you'll see the younger guys out on the floor, good active hands that time. Hellam's coming up with the steal. They had 18 steals in that first game.
Beverly fouled running up the floor, and we'll get our first time out. Good start for the Wolfpack. Funderburk's got a quick 5, and the lead is 6. NC State leading North Florida early 9-3 as we check out our Ford keys to the game. What you got, G-Man?
Well, for North Florida, it's all about shooting a 3 and that percentage in the game. And for the Wolfpack, just create their own energy, and they've done it. They've amped themselves up defensively and gotten some turnovers. But Matt Driscoll told us a fascinating number. Last year, they valued dunks, layups, and three-point shots. Only 70 baskets came outside of those 3, which is about 3 a game, which is astonishing to me.
That was in their 25 games against mid-major opponents. Less than 3 shots per game that were not threes, layups, or dunks. I agree with you completely. And they've taken a couple of them already today. Funderburk launching from the corner.
Well, I think he really bails North Florida out by taking long jump shots in this game.
Daniels from just inside the arc buries the jumper.
Offensive rebounding starting to be a problem right now for North Florida. NC State very active on the second shots.
6 of the 11 points of the second chance variety. And Funderburk cleans up the glass again. 8-1 rebounds at the moment, and up ahead to Manny Bates. Matt Driscoll has seen enough.
Yeah, and that's, you know, with a smaller team, you don't expect to be beating up the floor, but Manny Bates just running rim to rim, and this team will throw a lot of lobs. Great look ahead on the break.
5 different members of the pack have scored. As we again look at the North Florida Ospreys, a team in the Atlantic Sun that went 13-3 in conference play last year. Matt Driscoll took over in the 09-10 season, has had 3 20-win seasons, including last year. And you know, Matt Driscoll back from his Clemson days under Larry Shyatt.
And this, you know, this team is, it's a good resume builder for non-conference opponents. And Matt Driscoll was talking about how teams love to play them. And you get a win against this team in the non-conference schedule, that's a positive.
Well, North Florida is an honorary member of the ACC at the moment as the deep ball goes up. Everything but the bucket for Jose Placer.
Yeah, Placer he was more concerned with drawing the contact than making the shot.
Oh, what a follow attempt, but Bates could not stuff it in. Off the Cam Hayes miss, the freshman from Greensboro's into the game for NC State. North Florida, this is their first of 3 straight games against ACC opponents. There's a triple for Hendrickson. He's the only Osprey to score thus far.
And that's what you'll see from the Ospreys is that drive and pitch. And they love to do that, draw the defense in and get decent looks from 3.
Daniels looking for Funderburk. Loose ball, scooped up. NC State turns it over for the 3rd time. Hendrickson averaged about 15 a game a year ago. He's coming off scoring 20 in North Florida's opener, a 13-point loss to Eastern Kentucky on Wednesday right here in this building. Hendrickson again, the runner. Not a layup, a dunk, or a 3, but it's a bucket.
We saw that early timeout after they got beaten up the floor by Manny Bates, and all of a sudden North Florida looking a lot more in rhythm offensively.
A quick 5-0 run from Hendrickson, native of Lexington, Kentucky. Daniels going to work with a shot clock at 8. Here's Hayes, a little step back. That's smooth.
Yeah, really had a nice line in their first game against Charleston Southern. 4 steals in that game with the offense.
All the way to the basket. Alonde Legrand, transfer from Detroit Mercy, who played here in Raleigh last November.
Way too easy in transition that time. Kevin Keith's not happy about that basket.
Shaquille Moore in the game as well, with Hayes, Daniels, Funderburk, and Bates. And another turnover. Live ball steal, Placer to the basket. That's goaltending. So Placer, the transfer from UMBC, brings the Ospreys back within 3.
And then North Carolina State a little loose with the basketball. 4 early turnovers, and some of those out front that turning into points.
That's a huge 3-minute stretch or so from the Ospreys, down 13-3. They've made their last 4 shots to get right back in this half. Started 1 of 7, have made 4 straight since. What does this zone defense do to you when you see it over and over again?
Well, I'm looking at it, and you know, they've got basically Bates inside, you know, Funderburk out right now, so a little bit smaller team.
Helms drew some contact, and the foul's going on Emmanuel Adedoyan, sophomore from Orlando, just in off the bench for North Florida.
I think, you know, if you can attack that zone right where that ACC is, you'll see that in front of Helms where he's shooting the free throw, because they had that nice high-low action earlier in the game.
Game 2 of Jarrett Cole's junior year. He could cross over the 500-point mark in his career today.
Well, this is the versatility that Kevin Keats is going to have this year. I mean, they're going to play 10 or 11 guys, and you know, they can go big, they can go small, they can go perimeter, they can put a couple of smaller guards out on the floor.
Helms 4 points thus far. He's 4 points away from 500 in his Wolfpack career. On a pretty good pace to cross over that 1,000 threshold. Jacob Cruz dribbling for North Florida.
You can see NC State really jumping everything, any ball cross outside, trying to cover up that three-point shot.
Abar's kick too tall for Jacob Cruz in the corner. 11:55 to play in the first half. North Florida's made a little bit of a run. Matt Driscoll's team from Jacksonville battling here in Raleigh. Well, it's remained a mystery whether or not the Wolfpack would have made March Madness this past March. They were certainly on the bubble. Kevin Keats believes they would have been in. They had some great wins over Wisconsin, Virginia, Syracuse, and of course that rout of Duke, one of the biggest wins over Duke in the history of the rivalry. But G-Man, do you remember the biggest win that NC State had over Duke in the history of the rivalry? I'm sorry. Ken Neal, our producer, asked me to mention this.
Yeah, no, it's thanks. And
the box score from January of '78.
It's not that too far to fall from up here, Evan. So you're lucky there's plexiglass between the two of us.
I don't know if I get workman comp if you throw me over the balcony here.
Yeah, that wasn't my finest hour, or 2 hours, or actually 40 minutes.
You had plenty of fine hours in your career just down the road in Durham.
I tell you, this place, some great work inside, and you know, Bates has gotten much better offensively. He's got to develop a little nice jump hook, and key thing is he's got no fouls to this point in the game, which is huge. They have to keep him on the floor.
Yeah, man, he only played 13 minutes in the opener on Wednesday night against the Buccaneers of Charleston Southern. Good hands there. Cam Hayes the steal, and the freshman lays it in.
Those live ball turnovers again out front, converting into points. Both teams have responded well to timeouts.
Sure have. It's a sign of two teams that are locked in with their coaches.
And they're trying to keep Manny Bates away from the basket, and it's easier to do with this North Florida team, as many threes as they shoot, even their bigs.
All the way to the rim, and a nice scooping layup from Placer. His second field goal to bring the Ospreys back within 7. Hayes, Daniels, Helms, Sebron, and Bates. Manny Bates throws it down.
Doing a nice job of finding their front court players behind that zone.
That counts as a dunk, right?
Yeah, sorry, more of a rub-in than a dunk.
Daniels the rebound, looking to push it to the corner. Sebron buries the 3.
No, their weight is still a little thin, but maybe one of their more versatile players out on the wing.
Darion Sebron still hasn't missed as a college basketball player. He's 4 for 4. Daniels a little off the mark there. Here comes Cruz the other way into traffic, and the first foul on the Wolfpack is going against Cam Hayes there with a reach.
Yeah, but Cam Hayes in only 18 minutes, 4 points, 4 steals, 4 assists against Charleston Southern.
Timeout called by Matt Driscoll, which gives me a chance to ask you a question that I've wanted to ask. For the last 3 years, we've heard Kevin Keats echo the refrain, look, we can't really play the way I really want to play. Now they can. How does that transform this program?
Well, I mean, it takes a full recruiting cycle and maybe a little bit longer. He hasn't had many guys leave early, but lost a couple of key players from last year's squad. But this year's team is probably the biggest team that he's had. It's the most versatile, and it's the deepest team that he's had. So as much pressure as they like to put, you know, if he can have 10 guys that he really relies on, that makes that pressure defense a lot better.
9:49 to go in the half, and now a quick word from Works.
Works Landroid Robotic Lawnmower. Available at mylandroid.com. The future of lawn care is here.
Today, game number 103 for Kevin Keats as coach of the Wolfpack. 66 up, 36 down. And he's been really good in this building. 21-2. The Wolfpack have been in Reynolds since the turn of the millennium.
And I think they're gonna play over in their normal arena, but for right now, Evan, I think this is a good venue. I mean, it's intimate, and you don't feel like you're getting swallowed up by an empty Coliseum.
Reaching foul called there on Devin Daniels, his first. I've always loved coming to games here, whether it's NC State women's games or men's games.
That last box score notwithstanding, I love playing here too.
Really? 3-ball good for Jaden Parker, freshman from Charlotte, North Carolina.
And that three-point shot starting to become more of a weapon for North Florida.
What do you remember most about playing in this facility, obviously before the renovation?
It's tough to get a feel on the air, but the long axis of both sides of the court feel like they were hanging right over the top of you, and the fans were incredibly rowdy. I mean, this place in Carmichael and Cameron were three incredible old school arenas.
2 of the 3 still are. Actually, Carmichael is too. That's a shot clock violation off the side of the backboard.
NC State a little disjointed that time offensively against the zone.
I mean, I imagine you've thought about what it would be like to play the important ACC games in Cameron or in any of these ACC venues without fans. I mean, have you put yourself in that mindset at all?
Yeah, I mean, you try to, and even, this has been a little surreal for me coming to a game, and this is my first game of the year, but, this atmosphere.
Thomas Allen.
And this would be a game, too. I mean, even under normal circumstances, Evan, the students are away for Thanksgiving break.
Right.
But it would be a chance for people who normally don't get tickets to come and see this team play.
So the steal that time for Allen, and then the Ospreys guard Dorian James fouled him on the floor. NC State by 9 with the ball.
That was kind of a 1-3-1 zone extending for North Florida.
Daniels with a hand in his face comes up short. Rebound for Adedoyan. Emmanuel Adedoyan averaged about 3 points per game last year. Other than Hendrickson, the returners on this team didn't get a chance to play a ton.
Not a lot of D1 experience out there.
Not at all, but a nice move there from Jaden Parker, and he's got a quick 5 points off the bench. A guy with size. He's 6'10", out of West Brunswick High School. So the Ospreys are hanging around. First ever meeting between North Florida and NC State. Going glass too strong, and the rebound for Dorian James. The Ospreys will play Miami in a couple days, and then Florida State is North Florida's next game after that.
Florida State getting a little bit of love nationally, maybe not as much as they should.
Oh, they're going to be good again.
That team was, you talk about a team that was playing well down the stretch last year and didn't get a chance to go to the NCAA tournament.
No good inside for Ebenezer Duana, but a steal and an opportunity, and Daniels will go to the line after a timeout. I think James picked up his second. Devin Daniels bringing the energy for NC State. ACC basketball is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina. We resolve to help North Carolina stay healthy. By your local Ford dealers. And by Husqvarna. All-Star Lawns start with Automower. Beautiful November afternoon here in Raleigh, North Carolina. The Wolfpack in front of the Ospreys 26-19. Of course, Florida State, the ACC regular season champion from a year ago, losing 3 guys to the NBA, 2 lottery picks, and Patrick Williams and Devin Vassell. But there's been a lot of Scotty Barnes hype, G-Man.
Yep. And he's maybe a guy you might want to take a look at this year. I don't know if he's going to be around next year, depending on the season that he has. But about Florida State now, this is the second guy in 2 years that didn't start a game who was taken in the lottery.
That's pretty crazy.
Leonard Hamilton has done an incredible job with that program. I don't think gets as much love as he should.
He's starting to get more. He's starting to get more. By the way, Florida State had what would have been their opener against Gardner-Webb canceled, so Wednesday will be North Florida at Florida State for the Seminoles opener, and after that, Seminoles play Indiana and Florida their next 2 games. After that, conference play with Georgia Tech. Bumping foul on the perimeter there. I believe it'll go against Allen. By the way, we'll see Georgia Tech again tonight in game 2 of our doubleheader. They'll take on the Mercer Bears.
No, they're hoping to take care of business in 40 minutes.
Well, I talked to Brian Oliver, who will be calling that game, and he called that 4 overtime marathon that just ended. He got a little bit of a sleep. He's ready. I asked him how many overtimes tonight. He's predicting 0 overtimes.
If it was anybody other than Georgia Tech, he would have fallen asleep, I'm sure.
That is his alma mater. They know him in that place for sure. Nice kick out. It's Hendrickson for 3.
Even though, I mean, you know this team is going to shoot the 3, but somehow they get very good looks, and they're continuing to hang around. And this, this is an important 6-minute stretch for them to, not let this lead stretch out anymore.
4 for 8 from deep. Hendrickson is 3 for 3 from beyond the arc. Shot clock down to 6 here, and a nice dish to Funderburk inside, absorbing the contact.
Yeah, nice drive and pitch inside.
7 for Funderburk on 3 of 4 shooting. Also 4 rebounds so far for DJ. Deflected out of bounds. It'll stay the same way. North Florida G-Man lost a couple of first-team all-conference guys in the ASUN last year. Garrett Sams and Ivan Gondiarosa, the point guard. And 7 players make their college basketball debuts as a member of UNF on Wednesday.
Oh, Matt Driscoll told us that not so much the lack of a home court on the road, but he's concerned about conference play.
Well, the reason he's concerned is because they're going to be doing back-to-back games. Liberty, Lipscomb, and Stetson were picked 1, 2, 3 in the ASUN, and all 6 of those games for the Osprey are going to be on the road. But
that's pending if they're played. I mean, this
schedules this year are very to be determined.
This is the title of this year should be TBD. And unfortunately, basketball has a lot less wiggle room than football does.
It's going to be a crazy winter, and I mean we've already seen it in both the men's and women's game. Coaches putting out on Twitter, hey, who wants to play this weekend? We're willing to travel. Bates got a piece of it, and he's in disbelief that they called him for the foul. It's going to send Josh Endicott to the line. And I saw Louisville women's coach Jeff Walls, and obviously they're an excellent team, preseason favorites in the ACC. He basically tweeted the other day, does anyone want to play us this weekend? We're willing to travel, 5-6 hour bus ride. Just need to know soon.
It's like barnstorming almost. It's happening in the men's side as well.
Late last night, Virginia Tech scheduled a game against Villanova. That's not an easy one for Mike Young and the Hokies.
Which is great. I mean, I think it's great that the coaches are, they're being proactive and going out and seeking competition, regardless of who it is, because you know what? They can't prepare for you just as you can't prepare for them. So it's a level playing field.
Well, there's certainly been the fair share of surprises involving ACC teams already, including a huge one earlier today. Kevin Daniels comes up empty, and the rebound finds Manny Bates. Loose ball scooped up by Josh Endicott. Endicott's an amazing story, by the way. His freshman year at college, he was a pitcher for the Cincinnati Bearcat baseball team. Bates, nice job letting that ball go. Realized it was on the way down. Helms, nice job.
Well, Bates, again, I'll talk about the fact he's able to stay on the floor in this half. A factor defensively, more selective as a shot blocker.
Inside, Endicott lays it in.
Yeah, they're really trying to find out where the mismatches are with their front court players, and that time that Beverly got caught in the low post, and they couldn't help in time.
Endicott did not play on Wednesday, but making his 2020-2021 debut today. Hayes back to Beverly, an open look, and that's money.
Well, good run. They tried working him in the middle of that zone, and because of his size, he couldn't see over it, but that's what he does best.
I'll tell you, Devin Daniels, Braxton Beverly, Jericho Helms were combined 9 of 11 from 3 in the opener on Wednesday.
I don't think, with Devin Daniels, that's probably unrealistic to expect that every night out, but nice to know that he's got that in his arsenal. He's much better when he's attacking the basket.
Straightaway 3-ball would not fall for Placer. Wolfpack by 8. Helms, one dribble pop.
Now, again, I talked about it. It's a little tenuous time right now. The Wolfpack have stretched it out to 10 points, and Matt Driscoll wants to stop it now.
NC State's largest lead was 12, 26-14, 36-26 now, 3:40 to go in the first half. Jericho Helms, the junior from St. Louis, moments ago just scored his 500th career point as a college basketball player for the Pack.
He got the start this afternoon instead of Devin Daniels, and he's responded. 8 points for him, shooting the ball very well. Some nice, solid rebounding. And this is he's probably better at the 3, but when Kevin Keith wants to go small, he can play the 4.
Anyone who's watched NC State basketball and has heard the Helms bio, number 3 scorer out of the state of Missouri, out of Chaminade High School in St. Louis, behind Bradley Beal, Jason Tatum. Loose ball scooped up by Beverly. Turnover number 9 for the Ospreys. Daniels to Bates.
I think he was caught in between trying to dunk and just lay it in that time.
Like 6'9" Jonathan Abar getting the loose ball and dribbling it up the floor himself.
Well, there's rarely a player on the floor that Matt Driscoll doesn't like shooting a 3, but there you get the little layup inside.
Great dish, Adedoyan to Abar. A sophomore who played less than 10 minutes a game to a true freshman. Alonde LeGrand pressuring Beverly to switch the defensive look a little bit. Seaborn a little too far into the basket there.
Abar, nice job keeping his feet, not going for the pump fake.
North Florida hanging around. Hendrickson's been the hot hand. Not that time. Rebound Seabron. Daniels was fouled. That's the 6th team foul on North Florida.
Just 18 minutes into this game, Evan, but the sense is that, to me, that runs aren't as devastating without fans in the stands. All right, you got on a nice little run, you can regroup and come back, but it just the intensity doesn't build on a normal 10-0 run.
I think that's an excellent point. Be interesting to see if we notice that trend over the course of the season.
I think that, the players get more and more resilient and used to playing in this environment.
Kevin Keats yelling for Helms to shoot the ball there, and I think Jericho would do that next time.
I think both coaches talked about, though, you don't know what the future holds. I mean, you don't know what this virus is going to do. You don't know what
treat
the flu
every
season,
game like it could be your last.
Exactly.
Which is a little bit of a different mindset, because you want to ball every night, but at the same time it's a marathon, that college basketball season.
And then you get it happens once that you're building up, and they could call the game right before it's supposed to start.
And now 20-game ACC schedule. Daniels to the corner. Seabron. And Bates uses his size for the rebound. Second chance points have killed the Ospreys, and there 3 more. Helms in double figures with 11.
And that he just went over the top of Coliseum for that offensive rebound. There's just no chance for him to block him out.
9 second chance points now for the Pack on 7 offensive rebounds. By the way, Kevin Keats was not pleased that Devin Daniels was their leading rebounder the other night. I mean, he was pleased, but he wasn't, if you understand. So far today, Bates and Funderburk have 10 of the 18 rebounds for the Wolfpack.
Well, if you're going to go big, your bigs have to produce for you. And that's what, Kevin told us before the game. And, he wants to use that big lineup as much as he can.
Helms just picked up his first foul, by the way. Shot clock's at 10. Under a minute to play in the half. And an entry pass was kicked. Shot clock goes from 7 to 20.
Yeah, Bates has been very active. He's done a nice job defending away from the basket where a shot blocker is less comfortable.
I'll tell you, watching the NC State Charleston Southern game on Wednesday night, when I saw Manny Bates, I thought he looked different.
Well, and the problem is with him in that game, he got a foul, and that's what he does right there.
Well, and what I mean by that, I'm not even talking the way he played. Physically,
yep. He
looks in better shape. He's always had great timing. Bates the block. Sebron the bucket. In the foul.
Nice run out. Good finish to the half by the Wolfpack. Well, and this is in Bates. Talk about a guy who's overcome adversity with, he missed a couple of years with injuries and coming back strong. And that finish right there, that block.
4 blocks for Bates. He's had multiple blocks, G-Man, in 27 of his 31 career college basketball games.
I think you think about this. He was 7th in the country last year, Evan, and he played 19 minutes a game. That's just astounding. Averaging just about 3 blocks per. Led the ACC.
Final seconds of the first half. Ospreys could really use a bucket headed to the break. Hendrickson kicks it. Adedoyan passed up the look, and the Ospreys come up empty. NC State closes the half on a quick 6-0 spurt and stretches the lead out to 14. Manny Bates 4 blocks. Jericho Helms 11 points. And the Wolfpack are halfway to a 2-0 start to the brand new season of basketball. 14-point game at the half. Welcome to our Toyota halftime report from historic Reynolds Coliseum in Raleigh. NC State leading 42-28 over North Florida. Just 3 days into this new college basketball season that began on Wednesday, and already some fascinating results and some shockers from around the ACC. None more so than Virginia falling to the Dons of San Francisco 61-60. G-Man, your thoughts on that? Syracuse barely survived Bryant earlier today, too.
Yeah, that was without Bill Cartwright or Bill Russell for San Francisco. So, it was a great win for them. Of course, Georgia Tech had their hands full against Georgia State the other night, 4 overtimes in that loss. So there are some, and Bryant had the last shot in that game with a chance to win.
Couple looks with a chance to win. Jim Boeheim's team escaped. Wake Forest got a 60-point win in the debut of Steve Forbes as the new head coach. But for Virginia, look, they're still the preseason favorites, but Tony Bennett is learning how to live without great defensive players like Mamadi Diakite and Braxton Key. Virginia falling to San Francisco. They're the preseason favorite in the ACC. Anybody not on that graphic, G-Man, that you think could make some waves?
Yeah, I thought Georgia Tech was actually, poised to make a little bit of a run. They had a decent year last year. I think NC State is going to be a little higher up than that. Syracuse struggled today, but I think all these teams are a work in progress just because of the way the preseason has gone.
That's a great point. Chance to see Georgia Tech try to rebound from that quadruple overtime setback on Wednesday later tonight with Tom Wormy, Brian Oliver down at McCamish Pavilion. That's a tip at 8 p.m. Meanwhile, Jericho Helms 11 first half points to lead the Pack. First half numbers, highlights, and second half action on the way from Raleigh.
We in the Atlantic Coast Conference believe that Black Lives Matter.
We in the ACC know there needs to be change.
Racism and social injustice
have no place on our campuses.
Have no place in the ACC.
We will not be silent.
Change starts with us.
Change starts with you.
Together.
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 Together we can learn,
Lead.
and be a part of the solution.
We believe
that Black Lives Matter.
Our Toyota halftime report continues from Reynolds Coliseum. Wolfpack by 14, and NC State shoots the ball 52%. Let's check out our game summary presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. G-Man, what stands out?
The big number, 4 of 9 for North Florida from behind the arc. Only a third of their field goal attempts have been threes. They want that up over half. So NC State doing a good job of guarding the line, and that those 4 blocks big there, and also turnovers to points for NC State.
Interesting thing, Ospreys were 4 of 8 from 3 when Hendrickson hit with 6:46 to go in the half. They only attempted 1 3 in the final 6:45. Second half coming up from Raleigh.
At NC State, our history grew from the ground up. So it's filled with dirt and sweat and long hours. It's the story of solving problems. To provide people with the tools that improve our communities. This is our history. It's also the force that drives us into the future. We are NC State. Think and do.
Moments away from the start of the second half between North Florida and NC State. First ever meeting between these two programs. Leading scorer for NC State, Jericho Helms. Although you think Funderburg should have gotten credit for that too early in the game, off the hustle play, and he just got no rhythm.
Yeah, and you know, some guys respond to that starting position. Certainly Devin Daniels did in that first game, and but Helms getting the nod here and knocking down the 3. You make a couple of layups early, all of a sudden the basket opens up for you.
Daniels only 3 points in the first half after scoring 20 in the first half on Wednesday, but this one belonged to Helms. And we mentioned, obviously, he's behind Jason Tatum in the Chaminade High School scoring list. Speaking of Tatum and a few other recent ACC stars, they've had a nice week of signing some lucrative deals. Donovan Mitchell, Brandon Ingram, and Jason Tatum. That's a combined $548 million. But who's counting?
Yeah, if the 3 of them went out to dinner, if I was Ingram, I'd make one of the other 2 pay. He got left behind a little bit in that number, but just mind-boggling dollar numbers for NBA players these days.
It is wild. Happy to see my Celtics re-up Jason Tatum, though. Glad he'll stay green. The carrot that most of these guys dream about. Kevin Keats, year 4 at NC State. Of course, he spent 3 years at Louisville under Rick Pitino, 10 years at Hargrave Military Academy in Chatham, Virginia. Just kept churning out Division I players. 3 years at UNC Wilmington, and of course the new UNC Wilmington head coach came from Kevin's staff, Takeo Siddle.
Let's see if North Florida can whittle down that lead a little bit, but a terrific start for Thomas Allen coming in, knocking down the shot.
He didn't score in the first half, but he gets going quickly here. Courtesy of Craig Hamill, the wonderful sports information leader of NC State basketball, we got some first half thoughts of Kevin Keats via text. Kevin said he thought we finished the half better than we started it. Hendrickson inside, the follow wouldn't go. And the third try draws contact, and Endicott will get free throws. Kevin also said, quote, the zone isn't bothering us, but we need to be more patient against it. Guys need to keep flashing. He said, Hendrickson's a good player. We can live with him making a tough shot or a 2, but didn't look like that he shook loose a couple of times. Guys know from the scouting report they got to know where he is at all times. So overall, he's happy with the defense, and he's going to make some changes to the starting 5 in the second half because he wants to see more energy out there. So we see Daniels, Beverly, Helms, Allen, and Bates.
Funderburg, yeah.
So Funderburg did not start the second half.
So a little bit smaller, but some more firepower from the perimeter. Been playing 4 around 1 with Bates.
Bates did just pick up his second foul, by the way, on that. And that was just his first foul, excuse me. So he played the first half foul-free. Shot clock down to 6 here, and it's going to rise back to 20 on the kickball.
Well, where Manny Bates gets in trouble is on offensive fouls, like moving screens and reaching down for loose balls, and those situations. If he's going to burn fouls, you want him to do it on the defensive end.
So this may be a silly question for you, G-Man, but obviously you were a great post player inside out. The game has changed so much from when you play. That's a beautiful pass from Beverly to Helms. And my question is, did your opponent try to get you out on the perimeter into mismatches the same way that North Florida's doing with Manny Bates at all?
Well, we played zone most of the time.
Fair enough.
So I was in the middle of the paint regardless of what they were doing.
Big oak tree down there.
Yeah, we like Syracuse, we played a lot of 2-3 zone primarily.
It's a way to avoid switching mismatches.
But with this, who knows how realistic that would have been, in today's game. Just how perimeter oriented it's become. The 3-point shot valued so much, especially by North Florida and Matt Driscoll.
Beverly comes up short.
The Ospreys just need to get shots on offense. They need to get some open looks from 3. It's just the turnovers really hurt them. A third of the points they gave up.
And lots of drive and kick. And finally, another 3-point try for Hendrickson. Only 3 for 3 in the first half. His first miss. Only the second 3-point try in the last 9 minutes of game time.
A little bit of a force that time by Daniels, trying to get himself worked into the offense. It was a 1-on-5 break.
Devin Daniels 1 for 4 now in the game. Hendrickson catch and shoot. And he gets his own rebound.
Beverly went flying by him that time instead of staying and checking him out.
Endicott just lost it. I think that's the first dead ball turnover that North Florida's had. The first half they turned it 11 times, all live ball situations that created 14 NC State points.
And that's the hard thing, and not that you want to turn the ball over in any situation, but if it's going to be dead ball, at least you can get back and set your defense up. They can get in that zone. You turn it over above the free throw line, it's tough.
Wolfpack jumped out 5-0 in the opening minutes and have never trailed in this game. Lead 19, currently the largest it's been all day. Bates unable to extend it. LeGrand, that pass deflected. Thomas Allen got a piece of it. Allen, the transfer from Nebraska. Kevin Keats has talked about how he could be a microwave type scorer for these guys. Play some point guard, also some shooting guard, bring some leadership because he's an older guy, even though this is his first year playing, but he has college experience, played 61 games for the Cornhuskers. Nice dish, but a better block. Another rejection for Bates, but Hayes could not handle it cleanly and gives it back to North Florida.
Yeah, Bates doing a nice job. Look at that, just in keeping it, recovering, and keeping the ball in play, too. And now Kevin Keats, this is how they started the game with that bigger lineup with Funderburg at the 4.
By the way, we mentioned Detroit Mercy's game in Raleigh at PNC Arena last year against the Pack because the transfer from Detroit Mercy, Alonde LeGrand, playing for North Florida. Manny Bates blocked 7 shots in that game. That was his career high. It still is, but it's closing in on it with 5 and a lot of time to play.
I think just by definition, if he gets his minutes above 25 a game, you're going to see nights like this.
And statistically, When he's on the floor, he'll block about 1 of every 6 shots from the opponent, which is pretty staggering when you think of it that way. Shot clock at 5, and reach and foul at 4. Going on the former Titan of Detroit Mercy, Alonde LeGrand.
And, you know, and Kevin Keith said we're going to put the freshmen out there, and you've got Shaquille Moore and Hayes out on the front of that zone defensively.
I'm excited to see Cam Hayes and Shaquille Moore in person for this NC State team. Heard a lot of good things about those guys. Both out there now with Funderburk, Bates, and Daniels. From the corner. Daniels just can't find the range that he had on Wednesday. It's 1 of 5 now. Looking for Hendrickson, and Funderburk got a piece of him on the way by. Number 2 on DJ. But NC State's in control, up by 19 points in game 2 of the season. Just a redshirt sophomore, Manny Bates, climbing the block chart in NC State history. 5 so far in the game. He's also got 6 points, 7 rebounds, and a steal. Kevin Keith still can't believe that he didn't make the ACC all-defensive team from a year ago.
It was mind-boggling to me that Manny Bates didn't make an all-defensive team. I mean, I would have voted him as Defensive Player of the Year. How many times have you seen a guy lead the ACC and not make a team in shot blocks? But he's coming along offensively. He's starting to get a lot more confidence around the basket. His development has been really huge for us this summer. He's starting to believe in himself. You know, you think about his shoulder and what he went through, and he was a little timid. And he and I talked about this offensively, you know, being careful the way he's hit and position himself so he doesn't get hit hard. He's starting to play through contact. He's starting to not worry about his shoulder as much, and he's starting to become an offensive threat where we can throw the ball to him and the coach.
TJ Funderburk answers after Emmanuel Adedoyan scored the first field goal for North Florida in their last 11 tries.
Nice help defensively that time. Daniels coming in with the steal.
Here's Hayes for 3.
That's one of the few times they've done it in the second half. Gotten the steal and turned it into points and a rush up the floor.
What do you think of Keats' comments on Bates?
Yeah, you know what? The only thing I can think of that worked against him was the minutes per game. You know, at 19, you know, and the foul trouble and issues that he had dealt with all year. But you can't argue with the numbers.
I actually went back and pulled it up on my computer, my ballot for all ACC last year. I voted for Manny Bates. He was my 3rd pick. My all-ACC defensive team was Trey Jones from Duke, Mamadi Diakite from Virginia, then Manny Bates, Wabisa Bede from Virginia Tech, and Trent Forrest. But the rest of the voters didn't see it my way.
Well, you could, you know, year in and year out, you could almost have a separate category for Virginia's team defense. You know, the way they play that pack line. But, you know, I think, you know, Manny Bates looks a lot more comfortable offensively. He's being selective, even though he's got a number of shot blocks in the game. He's being a little smarter about it, not fouling.
Jalen Gibson in the game for the first time. Hayes off the bounce, another smooth finish. 9 points now for Cam Hayes, the freshman.
And Kevin Keith wants to get this one over with early, putting the pressure up the floor, and the more effective they are offensively, they can get into that press.
Hendrickson off the dribble, forced it up, no good. And a couple guys there for the rebound, none could control it. Hot potato right now.
The Ospreys just having to work so very hard in each possession in the half court. Nothing easy.
Credit to the Wolfpack defense, swarming right now. Placer to the basket.
Yeah, that's about as easy a shot as they've gotten. And, you know, things open up. I mean, teams know when a shot blocker goes out of the game that all of a sudden the front of the rim opens up a little bit.
Hayes again, quick first step.
I like his mid-range game. Really solid.
Hayes scored 4 in his debut on Wednesday. He's got 11 so far tonight. 5 of 6 from the field. Also has 4 assists. And the foul's on Shaquille Moore for holding the bigger Hendrickson inside. If Cam Hayes can give NC State double figures off the bench, this Wolfpack team's going to be pretty good this winter.
Well, you know, you get Moore and you get Hayes some time together in that backcourt, and that's pretty stout coming off the bench.
If you're a Wolfpack fan worried about how are we going to replace Markel Johnson, they've got a lot of good options.
And that's it. You don't replace that player for player. But these 2 young guys looking good early.
Shot clock winding down. Lefty finger roll from Placer.
And he's been able to get to the rim off the dribble. And once again, they see that Bates not in there, so they're attacking the front of the rim.
Underberg will try. He has not found the range from deep so far today. Only misses, in fact, have been beyond the arc. 4 for 4 from 2. 0 for 2 from 3.
Which begs the question, why are you taking threes? You know, especially, you know, if you have Bates in the game, that's one thing. He's playing behind the zone, but I think in this lineup, Thunderberg's got to be inside in the paint.
Shaquille Moore is like, I never got that called against me in high school. My pushback on that, G-Man, would be how much more dangerous of a team offensively is NC State in conference play if DJ illustrates now that he can make that shot?
I guess I would just point back to, you know, the numbers don't lie in a lot of ways, and he's 22% last year from 3.
4 of 18.
You know, so I don't think you can hang your hat on that. I think it's something to maybe use once in a while to keep you honest. But I think he's better inside the 3-point line.
Deep look, Jacob Cruz clangs off the iron, but the long rebound comes to Adedoyan. Back to Cruz, not bashful, and he buries it.
Good look, good inside out, drew the defense in. You know, to your point, when he's playing with Bates, though, I love the high-low action with him up in the high post. And he's kind of in the middle of that zone right now.
Thunderberg takes it to the rack and draws contact. And he will get to the line when we return. A lot of freshmen on this North Florida roster, including Jacob Cruz, scored over 2,500 career points in high school. He scored 5 so far as a college basketball player, including all 3 of those. ACC basketball is brought to you by Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealers today. By the Works Landroid robotic lawnmower, available at mylandroid.com. And by CPI Security. NC State 11.5 minutes away from 2 wins to start the season. They can hang on to a 19-point lead, that is. In terms of other ACC storylines, Florida State had their opener against Gardner-Webb scheduled for this weekend canceled, so they'll take on North Florida next week in their opener. Wake Forest, new coach Steve Forbes coming from East Tennessee State, where he averaged 26 wins a year over 5 seasons. And the Deacons took care of business by 60 against Delaware State on Wednesday. And
North Carolina, you saw the down year, although devastated by injuries, and you knew that would not be a long-term trend. It's Roy Williams' first losing record ever.
That's crazy. What do you expect from the Tar Heels this year?
A lot better than 14-19 to be Captain Obvious, but you know, with Garrison Brooks back, and you know, they're again, staying healthy is going to be the big thing. It's going to be the big thing for everybody.
Jaden Parker, athletic rebound to the Jacob Cruz air ball, and Parker has 7.
I'll tell you, it was weird watching a game from the Smith Center without, you know, anybody in the building, and they did as good a job as they can in making it a small, intimate place, but still.
What will it feel like for you to watch Cameron?
Yeah.
Hayes pulls up, circles it down again.
He's just playing with a lot of confidence right now.
6 of 7 from the floor, 13 points. I want to work on Funderburk, who really did a nice job there defensively. Had a who-me look when the whistle blew, but it's a traveling violation on Dorian James.
He just pulled the seat out from underneath him, and that's, you know, that's really not their game. They've been trying to do a lot off the dribble, attacking the basket, but they're much more of a drive and pitch team.
Wholesale substitution for Kevin Keats. Daniels, Beverly back in, along with Helms, Allen, and Bates.
You were talking about, you know, him coaching the style he wants to. This is kind of the line change that he wants to, you know, work into with the younger guys. And, you know, as he said, with the COVID pandemic as it is, they can be a young team awfully quick. You know, but that starting five, Evan, 2 redshirt seniors, a senior, a redshirt junior, and a redshirt sophomore.
And yet that may not be the starting 5 when NC State takes the floor 3 days from now against William and Mary. Kevin Keats likes to mix and match. He says he doesn't know who the starters are going to be until right before the game. He doesn't want his players to know. He wants them to continue working and maintain that energy.
Well, that's, you know, you like that. It's not, there's no sense of entitlement there. Like, all right, we're going to have the, you know, there's something to be said for having the same starting lineup, but I like the, you know, having to earn your minutes.
Nice dish. Helms lays it in off the feed from Bates.
Another good job, and Bates now manning that high post, good high-low action.
2 assists for Manning. Only had 8 all of last year. Parker runs over Helms, and that's an offensive foul.
Here's the look, and that's that weak spot in that zone. Right in there, draws everybody in, and they've done a nice job of keeping people behind that back line.
Bill Walton-esque as a passer. Maybe a little bit of a stretch.
Let's not get carried away. Shot blocking, yes.
Hey, one thing I wanted to ask you, I was chatting on the phone, as I mentioned, with Brian Oliver on my way to the game today, and B.O. calling the Georgia Tech Mercer game with Tom Wormy tonight. The fact that the benches are so spread apart, how does that change the dynamic of staying locked in the game as we see Allen knock down the triple?
Well, I think, you know, the players, it's one thing, but I think it puts a lot of stress on the head coach, who's used to being surrounded by his lieutenants.
Right.
And, you know, Matt Driscoll made a point of that today. And, you know, you're used to having your guys chirping in your ear. And, you know, now they're 6 feet apart, and it's a lot more difficult. So I think it impacts the coaches more than the players.
2 more for Jaden Parker. He's got 9. Yeah. Matt Driscoll joking to us this morning that one of his assistants said, for the first time in 10 years, my leg wasn't bruised because you're usually smacking me the entire game in frustration. You couldn't do that because you weren't within an arm's reach as Helms continues his hot streak. He's got 17 now for the Pack.
Now, see, you know what? It's a small play, but for Thomas Allen, that was really smart. He had a chance to maybe make a heroic save, but it probably would have been 2 points for the other team. And instead, he took the turnover. They can set up their press. I really like that thought.
3 in double figures for the Wolfpack. Helms with 17, Hayes with 13, Funderburk has 11. Carter Hendrickson has 11 for North Florida, but he has not scored in the second half.
And then they could be a lot like last year's team. They had 4 players averaging over 12.5 points a game.
That's
and
right.
It could be the way it plays out this year.
Another offensive rebound for Jaden Parker. And on the other side of the rim, Endicott draws the foul. North Florida continues to fight, but the team from the A-Sun is overmatched tonight against the Wolfpack. NC State leading by 26 points, shooting 55% from the floor over the course of the first 32 minutes of action here today.
And had 1 more made 3 than do the Ospreys, which we didn't think that number would lean that way before the game started. That's a big reason why they had this lead.
That's surprising. North Florida averaged about 12 made threes a game last year. They led the country.
He stepped out of bounds. Glacier lost his Lost the geography on the side court.
Not a geography major, apparently. Turnover number 18. When you look at their season box score, North Florida, and see that they attempted 1,032 threes in the season, what goes through your mind?
I just think, again, you've got to turn your defense on its head and defend outside in, drive them off the line if you can. Even in transition, you're so ingrained to build your defense inside out, get into the paint and then build out. But you got to find guys against this team out in the open floor.
Another nice move from Parker, but unable to finish. The rebound for Bates.
You know, and I think their first 3 of the game was out in transition. And since that time, they haven't had any kind of easy looks. See, that's, you know, if Bates can start doing that consistently, then he starts, and not just, never mind the all-defensive team, he starts moving up a little bit into the upper echelon of front court players.
8 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 blocks, and a steal.
I mean, that jump hook looked great.
Manny being Manny. I'll tell you, I've done enough NC State games to know what Manny looks like and to know what DJ Funderburg looks like. From up in the catwalks where we are socially distanced from the court, their hairstyles look incredibly similar. Manny and DJ. Hendrickson, no good. By the way, do you see Kihei Clark's new hairdo?
Yeah, that was
he's got a mop up there,
up and down.
Of course, Virginia, their preseason ranking number 4, highest Virginia's been ranked since Ralph Sampson was in school. Beverly knocks down 3 more for the Wolfpack.
Well, just in a San Francisco, it was tail of 2 halves. I mean, they, it looked like they were ready to go away in that first half, but came out and hit a ton of threes in the second half. Virginia just falling asleep defensively, which you hardly ever see.
Yeah. Give the Dons credit too. They made some clutch shots. Dodged a bullet on a couple looks that Virginia had final seconds. Inside Parker, fakes it, takes it, makes it.
Yeah, so he did a nice job. That's what you want to do against a shot blocker, trying to show him the ball. That's what he wants to react to. Good pump fake.
Daniels gets it back. And that was last touch by the Ospreys. Again, if you missed it earlier, 61-60. Virginia falling to San Francisco. Some other one-point games going in the ACC's favor. Syracuse and Louisville surviving. Louisville over a tougher opponent in Seton Hall. And of course, don't forget Mercer, Georgia Tech, 8 p.m. tip, about an hour away from Atlanta. Daniels trying to detonate. Jonathan Abar got ball and arm is called for the foul.
Well, this is a good time for Kevin Keatts with this. I'd never like the term, garbage time or mop-up time. I mean, these are valuable minutes for the freshman. Anybody out on the floor, and he's going to tinker with different combinations during this time.
It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Especially this early in the season.
And this team, they were quarantined, and then they didn't have a practice scrimmage. They didn't have an exhibition game. And that's what the first game was for them. And it showed in the first 20 minutes a little rusty.
NC State forced 32 turnovers against Charleston Southern. Basically 40% of the Buccaneers' possessions ended in a turnover. And that was the highest percentage in all of college basketball through the first couple days of the season. Obviously early, but still a noteworthy thing. Forcing 18 turnovers so far today. Wolfpack were up 15, or we're up 14 at the half, outscoring the Ospreys now by 14 in the second half after that bucket. The lead is 28. Daniels trying to find the range. There you go.
Able to catch in rhythm that time. Good swing of the basketball.
Devin Daniels, his 99th college basketball game today. He's one behind Braxton, who's playing number 100. All of Braxtons are here in Raleigh, whereas Devin played a season out in the Pac-12 with Utah. It's been interesting, G-Man, early in the season as transferring has become not just more and more common, but the waiver of the year sitting out has become more and more common. Like, I'm watching Memphis the other day, and all of a sudden there's Landers Nolly, who was the star for Virginia Tech last year, and guys just shuffling around. I mean, to both the benefit and detriment of everybody.
Yeah, it definitely is a fluid situation, and almost has become a third recruiting season when you get, grad students getting an extra year somewhere. A lot of times they'll come from mid-major schools and step up to a Power 5 conference.
Matt Driscoll was saying that folks were coming after Carter Hendrickson. Nice move there by Bates off the glass.
Yeah, because that's the, and this is a North Florida team that's done extraordinarily well in the A-Sun, and but they're dangling the carrot out there saying, come play for a Power 5 team.
The Duke Blue Devils were their first ever grad transfer. Patrick Tape from Columbia getting an opportunity to play. No Ivy League season. Be curious to see if Jim Boeheim's other son ends up somewhere for any part of this year. Playing at Cornell.
Yeah, coming out of Cornell.
Moore. And the rebound ricochets out of bounds. It'll stay with NC State, and we'll get ourselves our final timeout with 3:23 to go. 78-45. Pack. CPI Security presents Protecting the Paint. What do you think this segment's about?
Yeah, Manny Bates, and you showed it two different ways you can block shots. Come in as a second defender and then on your man, and you cannot shoot a fadeaway shot against a shot blocker. You've got to go into his chest, and this Manny Bates eats that up.
Today's his 31st career game. He's got 90 career blocks. You can do the math. Nearly 3 per contest. I did it for you.
Thank you.
Inside, and opportunity for Jalen Gibson to get to the free throw line. Jalen Gibson, freshman from Zebulon, North Carolina, was headed to Wake Forest, and Danny Manning was let go. Gibson making the decision to come to NC State.
Kevin Keats not having to travel far for the recruiting 4 of his 5 freshmen from the state of North Carolina.
And that's especially satisfying for him because he would love to rival his peers in this state when it comes to recruiting. And I think he finally feels like he's in position to do that.
Well, and he talked about it too, about that, it used to be if Duke or North Carolina was not interested in you, you went somewhere else. And now they're getting guys to stay home, really good players in state.
Ebenezer Duana lost it on the way up. Final 3 minutes of action. Don't forget Mercer, Georgia Tech. 8 p.m. on your regional sports networks with Tom and Brian. The amazing thing about this game today, and it'll probably be forgotten relatively quickly, but North Florida and a team that averages 12 made threes last year leading the country. So far, they're just 5 of 16 from 3. And it's not the 5 that is even most astounding to me. It's that they have only attempted 16. Oh, great defense inside by Ebenezer Duana. The Ghanaian freshman, but a better shot at the buzzer from Jose Placer, who's quietly had a really nice second half for the Ospreys.
But even with that, NC State, they've kept the field goal attempts about a third from behind the 3-point line, and that's a pretty good recipe against this North Florida team. Nice job defending inside, outside in.
Another kickball stops the clock with 2:10 to go. Well, there's an interesting wrinkle in North Florida's schedule. They play all of their games in North Carolina or Florida until February. And again, schedules change.
But that's great. I mean, it is great for your travel expenses. Kind of tightens everything up, especially in this environment.
Well, I mean, they've got road games at High Point, in the Triad, at East Carolina. Persevering inside. Zebron gets a bucket.
I wonder if they'll get an invitation to the ACC tournament with their schedule in the next 3 games.
Yeah, they go to Liberty in Lynchburg, Virginia on February 5th and 6th. At least that's what the schedule says now. You know, you have to be malleable in these extraordinarily bizarre and crazy times. That was a strange wrinkle, though. Zebron feeds it inside. Power dribble. Gibson powers it in. Kevin Keats has to be pleased that the guys who didn't get a ton of time during the game coming in late, contributing.
Yeah, like as we talked about, his versatility and showed his ability to score on the block inside. Good hand that time.
Hayes, nice dish. Shaquille Moore.
Kevin Keats taking the timeout, just wants to get some people in the game.
We'll take the quick timeout, too. With 1:03 to go. Hey, the score's a palindrome. I love palindromes. Moments ago, we saw Kevin Keats smile. He took the mask off for a second. The upcoming schedule for NC State, William and Mary on Monday, and then it gets tougher. UConn, Michigan, and Louisville all in December. But I'll tell you that this NC State team, after watching them on Wednesday on TV and watching them today in person, this is the best team Kevin Keats has had, and I'm not sure it's particularly close.
And again, I like the fact, and they haven't had to shoot the 3, but I like the fact they've got all those older players that are back, and and plus a chance here early on in this non-conference schedule to work in some of the freshmen, get them valuable time. I really like what I've seen with Shaquille Moore and Cam Hayes here today.
The other different dynamic is we just got another full timeout here, so Matt Driscoll is going to do some aggressive counseling over on the Ospreys bench. You think about the last few years, NC State was bringing in grad transfers, and they had some really good players, but they were only here for a year. With the guys that they bring in now, like Zebron, Moore, Hayes, Allen has a couple years left, Gibson, Duwana. I mean, this is a group that can build together for the foreseeable future.
Well, and you've got that leadership at the top, and then you've got young guys you can filter in, and they're going to be different combinations of those. They're not all going to be out there floor at the same time, but to have that confidence to put them out there.
A year ago, NC State didn't have more than 8 scholarship players available until the 7th game of the year. Many more pieces to tinker with in this new season. Something that has Wolfpack fans feeling pretty good. Their ACC opener will be a tough one, but a really good game at Louisville on December 16th. 3 ball is good for Josh Berenbaum. Only the 7th 3 of the game for the Ospreys.
And they've had a couple of them late here.
By the way, I know I've been going back and forth. I think of Osprey as plural, but they call themselves the Ospreys. Good block by Jaden Parker, but Max Farthing going to get to the free throw line.
More importantly for the Wolfpack, they have not been the birds of Trey in this game. So a nice defensive game plan for NC State.
Executed well, too. Points for Farthing. Entered today with 4 points in 13 career games.
Yeah, it is weird. I mean, you see the players sitting over there. It's like looking at the Supreme Court. He has their own little pew.
Justice Bates, Justice Beverly, Justice Daniels.
All rise.
They should put on robes and wigs. Cool moment at center court. Driscoll and Keats.
It's got to be tough for the coaches. They don't know whether to shake hands or, just wave at each other or give each other a fist pump or an elbow.
Well, here in the Mako Medical Wolfpack Invitational, the NC State Wolfpack go 2-0 A 34-point win over Charleston Southern and a 35-point win over North Florida. G-Man, your final thoughts?
Again, it was a perfect game for NC State. You get a cookie-cutter win, no injuries, and you get the freshmen a lot of playing time, and you get to tinker with your lineup. So I think a win all the way around for Kevin Keats.
NC State 86, North Florida 51. Great to be back watching basketball. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, Georgia Tech Mercer coming up at 8 o'clock. But for now, for Mike Jaminski, I'm Evan Leffler saying good night from Raleigh, North Carolina. The NC State Wolfpack under Kevin Keats are 2-0 on the new season.